You ever notice how, sometimes, the people who bark the loudest about respect are the first to dish out disrespect the moment they think no one important is watching? That's pretty much where my story starts, a story about justice, egos, and what happens when you walk into a storm that everyone else pretends isn't even there. The thing is, I didn't come looking for trouble that day. I just wanted to see the truth with my own eyes. But some folks, well, they couldn't help but show their real selves, and they picked the wrong day, the wrong woman, and honestly, the wrong storm to try at in.it started on a Thursday morning that felt just like any other. With folks dragging themselves through metal detectors and sitting on hard court benches, probably just wishing they were anywhere else. There was this trial going on, another police brutality case, the kind you hear about so often you almost go numb to it, right? But this time, the room was holding its breath because the victim wasn't trembling. She was poised, quiet, sitting there with her curls pulled back, glasses set just right, clothes nothing flashy, just a real, working woman, waiting for her name to be called. She wasn't trying to make a scene, but when she walked up to the stand, you could feel the shift. And that's when Marcus Dale, Richmond PD's own prizefighter, couldn't help himself, leaned back, muttered something nasty, real loud. Who let the maid in? He sneered, all smug, and a couple of his buddies snickered. He kept going. Hope you brought your green card. Oh wait, you people always find a way in. You know that feeling when a room goes from bored to frozen in one heartbeat? That's what happened. Everybody heard it, but no one said a thing. Not a word from the judge, not a warning from the bailiff, nothing. What nobody in that room realized was that this wasn't just some random witness. Amara Bell, yeah, her name matters. She was there for a reason. Not by accident. Not because she drew the short straw. She was there because she'd been watching this circus for months, maybe years, documenting every little slip, every joke, every piece of evidence that never made it out of the file room. She was a plant, an undercover agent. But that day, she played the part of nobody just to see how far Marcus and his crew would go when they thought the only eyes on them were powerless. It was all calculated. The judge, Hollowell, he was part of it too, the type who wore his reputation like a suit of armor. But everybody who paid attention could see the stains. Marcus? 17 years on the force, built his whole career on intimidation, bending the rules, getting away with it because he always had friends in high places. You know the type. The ones who think a badge is a shield against accountability. But that's the thing. Amara had files, audio, old complaints, even forged signatures. She'd been pulling thread after thread, watching them wrap themselves tighter and tighter in their own arrogance. Every laugh, every little "who's gonna stop me" moment, she collected them all. What nobody saw was that she'd already signed the paperwork to suspend Marcus's badge, already traced the judge's backdoor payments. By the end of that day, power in that courtroom was about to flip, and nobody was ready. Let me back up a sec. It's hard to describe what it's like being humiliated like that, having every eye on you, waiting for you to break. Amara didn't. She sat in silence. She held her ground. And while the officer cracked jokes, she watched. When the recess came, he joked in the break room about these people and how nothing would ever change. But behind a hidden camera, Amara was collecting evidence, motive, mindset, everything a grand jury could ever want. Later, she met quietly with an ex-cop named Kenneth, who'd gone up against Marcus and paid for it with his career. Kenneth handed her a flash drive. "Just use it." "I don't want credit," he muttered. "Eyes down." Amara nodded. She knew what to do. There was another woman in all this, Belle, a young black prosecutor who'd watched her own files get edited, her witnesses reassigned. Amara reached out, and together they mapped the courthouse from the inside, piece by piece. Amara still played her role quiet, unassuming, keeping her badge hidden and her cards close to her chest. But then came the turning point. Court resumed, and you could feel the energy shift. The jury was restless. The judge was stalling. The defense was sweating. Bell caught up with Amara at the fountain outside, whispering, "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. People are scared." Inside, Marcus started to panic. He stormed into Hollowell's office, hissing that something was wrong. Hollowell shrugged. "She's a nobody. Just let the system work." But for the first time, Marcus didn't believe it. The day everything blew up, you could feel it in the air, static, heavy, like waiting for a thunderstorm. The courtroom was packed. Amara walked in, took her seat, and waited. The prosecutor stood. "Your Honor, the witness would like to submit new evidence." Hollowell rolled his eyes, but gave the nod. Amara pulled out a thick envelope and a flash drive, everything labeled pristine. The bailiff handed it to the clerk, who projected the contents on the big screen. Suddenly, the whole room was listening to Marcus's own voice, recorded, laughing about how easy it was to bury complaints, how Hollowell had his back. Another clip, him boasting that these people can't stay out of trouble, naming the judge as the fixer. The room froze. Amara stood up. Her voice wasn't loud, but you could hear it everywhere. "I came as a witness, but I was also on assignment. I've been investigating patterns of racial misconduct and judicial corruption, and what you just heard is only a fraction of what we've found." Gasps. Phones out. Reporters stopped pretending not to record. Marcus leapt to his feet, shouting, "She's lying. This is insane." Amara turned to him, voice icy. "You don't remember me, but you should. For years ago, in Baltimore, you lied about my cousin. He spent over a year in juvenile detention because of you." Marcus blinked, lost. "This isn't vengeance," she said. "It's accountability." The prosecutor moved for Marcus's immediate detainment. Judge Hollowell sat there pale as a ghost. Amara finished, "You humiliated me because you thought I had no power. You were wrong. Now you'll live with the truth." The room was silent as agents entered, cuffing Marcus and leading him out. No back door, no privacy. Public. Permanent. Hollowell didn't move. Someone handed the bailiff a DOJ order. The entire court placed under federal oversight. Outside, the crowd had doubled. People held signs, some chanting, some just staring as Marcus was marched out in chains. Bell met Amara in the hallway, voice shaking. "You broke the machine." Amara shook her head. "I just showed them what it was made of." But inside, she knew, the real fight was just starting. The state attorney general, Langston, a so-called reformer, was in this mess up to his neck. Evidence pointed higher, to campaign funds and hush money. Langston called her in for a meeting, public, neutral, trying to buy her off with promises of new initiatives, her name on reform bills. She refused. He tried to threaten her. "If you take me down, you take down the whole system. People will blame you." Amara smiled. Then maybe it's time they saw the truth, even if it's ugly. The fallout hit like a slow-motion earthquake. Within days, the city was under federal supervision. The press swarmed. Cases got reopened. Langston tried to blame everything on Marcus and Hollowell, call it a breach, not a system. But then Kenneth handed Amara another flash drive, a wire recording of Langston saying, "Give the public a conviction or two, and they'll believe the machine's been cleaned." That tape hit the news. Langston's career crumbled overnight. Marcus and Hollowell lost everything, one to prison, the other to disgrace. But Amara turned down every book deal, every interview, every attempt to make her the center of the story. Instead, she opened a small office for civil rights and accountability, a blue building on the south side of Richmond. Sign out front, "We hear you." She built a team, took real cases, met people face to face, listened, and helped point one morning. A letter arrived, no name, no return address, just a single line. "You gave me my voice back." That was it. That's what change looks like. Not fireworks, not fame, just knowing you did the right thing, even when it cost you the most. Now, if you made it this far, let me ask you, have you ever been invisible in a room where you knew you belonged? Ever had someone tell you to keep quiet just because your truth made them uncomfortable? What would you do if you had the power to change that? Because, maybe you do. And maybe you've just been waiting for the right moment. If this story meant something to you, drop a comment, share what justice means in your world, and let's keep this conversation alive. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is listen, and then, finally, speak.